Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little, and we keep track of time, being so serious. Idiots thinking it will matter, keep me company downtown before the clock runs out.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. I'm glad you're here. I really enjoy the time that we get to spend together. I hope wherever you are that you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. On today's video, I'm going to be comparing two max cushion daily trainers. It's the Hoka Bondi X versus the Hoka Bondi 7.
Welcome to friends are nearby, don't need another view. Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up.
Now both the Bondi X and the Bondi 7 are considered to be max cushion daily trainers, with the Bondi X featuring a carbon fiber plate. So how do you know which shoe to buy? Well, that's the question we're going to try to answer today, so stick around. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to take a real close look at the Hoka Bondi X and the Hoka Bondi 7 to try to answer that all-important question, is this the right shoe for you?
You think you know me? Say I'm as cold-hearted as they come. You think I'm slowly cutting my ties with you, that I'm done. Here's what you don't know. Feelings, they grow slow. I've just been caring for mine. Now I can feel it. Now I believe it. Baby, tonight is the night. I'm gonna call you up in the name of love. Gonna call you up and tell you that I'm not giving up. In the name of love, I'm not giving up yet on you. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. It's easy, yeah. Falling in love, well, maybe for you. I think it's crazy.
Now this video is not intended to be a full review of either shoe, but if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below to reviews I've completed for each one previously. And if you're new to the Run Tall family, welcome, glad you're here. Now I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly, so if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos about running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. Now both of these are new to road shoes. I did order them true to size. Now the Bondi X is the lighter of the two shoes, but not by much. They came in at 10.2 ounces for men's size 9 on my scales, or 289 grams, while the Hoka Bondi 7, now they came in at 10.8 ounces or 304 grams. The Bondi X is the more expensive of the two. They retail for $200 US, while the Hoka Bondi 7, now unfortunately they just had a price hike. When I purchased my pair, they were $150. I just saw on their website that they raised the price $10, so now they run $160 US. So let's start and talk about the midsole first, beginning with the Bondi X. Here they've got 33 millimeter stack height in the heel and 28 millimeters up in the forefoot. So they have a 5 millimeter offset of their compressed EVA foam that's super soft, fun to run in, highly cushioned. Then embedded within that foam is their carbon fiber plate. Now that plate helps to not only stabilize all of that soft cushion foam that you have underfoot, but also to help maintain the integrity of that early stage meta rocker, or the curvature of the shoe, to help you roll through your gait cycle just a little bit more smoothly. And what I found is that when I'm midfoot striking to forefoot, I feel like that plate is giving me just a little bit more energy return than what I was getting in the Hoka Bondi 7. So let's take a look at the Bondi 7. Here they got just about the same amount of foam underfoot. Again, it's that compressed EVA foam that's highly cushioned. It is a max cushion daily trainer, so don't expect to feel any kind of ground contact. But they too have a 33 millimeter stack height in the heel. But then in the forefoot, it's a little bit less. They've got 29 millimeters, so they have a 4 millimeter offset. There's no carbon fiber plate, but still I feel like I get a nice smooth transition through my gait. I just don't feel like I'm getting quite as much of an energy return or help when I'm rolling through my gait cycle as what I was getting or what I get in the Bondi X. So between these two shoes, I prefer to run in the Bondi X in terms of the midsole feel and ride, simply because at the end of a long run, my legs feel like they're a little fresher in the Bondi X than they do in the Bondi 7. So let's continue to look at the geometry of the shoe. With the Bondi X, here you can see that they have a split heel design here. They call that a swallowtail. Now they featured this same type of a design in their Carbon X2 as well as in the Mach 4, and I think probably they're going to continue to do that moving forward, with the updated version of the Mach 4 being, I think the Mach Supersonic is what's coming out in somewhere probably around March 2022. And then we can see that, it has a pretty big wide landing platform up here in the forefoot. It stays pretty wide there in the midfoot section of the shoe. You can actually see the carbon fiber plate that's caught up with a lot of dirt and so on that's in there now. But that X shows you can see the carbon fiber plate embedded within the shoe. And then it stays pretty wide back in the heel. This is the one thing that I probably would change if I could change something about the outsole on the Bondi X, as well as with the Carbon X in any of their shoes where they feature that cutout where you can see that carbon fiber plate. What happens for me is I'm always getting stuff caught in there, sticks, twigs, in this case, a little bit of mud, all kinds of stuff. So I don't need to see the carbon fiber plate to know that it's there, so I would just assume that they not do that. So let's take a look now at the Bondi 7. Here you can see that they have a rounded heel design here. Still lots of rubber in all of those high abrasion areas where you're likely to see wear first. And as we flip them over, these two also feature a big wide landing platform up in the forefoot of the shoe. They stay pretty wide, although I do feel like these are a little bit more narrow across the midfoot section, and then they're also wide back here in the heel as well. And then we can see that they have a little bit more of that blown rubber on the outsole of the Bondi 7 than they do in the Bondi X. And I think that with the Bondi X, one of my concerns, and I mentioned this when I first reviewed them, is just how well this midsole material is going to hold up that's not covered by rubber or not protected by the rubber. And you can see that, I've only got about 50 miles on these and they're already chewed up just a little bit. I haven't experienced that with the Bondi 7, so I don't know if they changed that formula just a little bit, but I have a lot more miles on these, and that midsole material looks like it's pretty much brand new. If I clean these up, they would look like they came right out of the box. So not sure if they changed the formula on that, so if you know, maybe you could add that in the comment section below. But that is a concern of mine going forward with the Bondi X, is just how long or how durable that the material that's not protected by the outsole rubber is going to last. So let's take a look at the upper, beginning with the Hoka Bondi X first. Now here, I absolutely love the material that they built this upper out of. It's lightweight, it's highly breathable, so I appreciate the comfort from a breathability standpoint. They have very few plastic overlays. They've got a couple you can see up around the toe to give it a little bit of structure, maybe a little bit of durability. They've got their Hoka logo, of course, across the midfoot section of the shoe. And then they have a little bit of plastic overlay back here in the heel counter. Now these do have just a traditional eyelet chain, so no big wow factor there. They don't really need one. The tongue itself, now that's pretty thin, much thinner than it is in the Bondi 7, but it does feature a semi-gusset and there's lots of perforation. So this entire upper is much more breathable than what we find in the Hoka Bondi 7. Now with the Bondi 7, they do have an engineered mesh upper. It's just not quite as breathable. There's lots of plastic overlays, much more so than what we saw in the X just a second ago around the toe box. They too feature their Hoka logo across the midfoot section of the shoe, but you can see there's a lot of extra plastic overlays back here as well, all the way through to the heel counter of the shoe. The tongue is much more heavily padded. It's not gusseted, but I didn't have any issues with it migrating around at all. The lace enclosure system is a standard lace enclosure system, much like what is in the Bondi X. So there's no big wow factor there, but it does get the job done. And they do feature that extra eyelet in case you want to run with the runner's knot in both versions of the shoe. Now with the Bondi 7, I feel like it's just a better fitting upper for me. Even though I prefer the material that the upper on the X is built out of or made out of, I like the fit of the Bondi 7 better. It's a much more snug fit across the midfoot section of the shoe, so it's really easy for me to get dialed in that way. I don't have any kind of heel slippage. My foot stays right in place, right where I need it to. With the Bondi X, it's a much more loose fit to me. And I do feel like my foot is kind of sliding around a bit, especially when I'm going downhill. Now, they're not fast A shoes. So where I notice it most is when I am going up and down hills. And when I go downhill in the Bondi X, I feel like my foot is sliding forward a little bit, more than I would definitely like it to. So the overall fit, I prefer the Bondi 7. I like the material of the upper of the Bondi X, but I would take fit over the feel anytime. In terms of overall value, I think the Bondi 7 has it over the Bondi X. Even though Hoka just did raise the price and now it's $160 US as opposed to the $150, I think you're still getting a good value for your money. It's a max cushion, long distance daily trainer that I know you're going to be able to put a lot of miles on and do it really comfortably. At $200 for the Bondi X, I think that it's overpriced. That's a lot of money for a daily trainer. That said, I will likely be picking up the Bondi X maybe a little more often than I do the Bondi 7, simply because I've already invested my $200 in those shoes and I'm going to get my money's worth. And I do enjoy that midsole ride a little more in the Bondi X than I do the Bondi 7. I have to give up a little bit on the fit of the upper, but overall, I do like the ride of the Bondi X. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.
But I'll be damned if I'm not a fool. Here's what you